want that to happen.
Hey, let's talk about the all-time, or not the all-time, but the Progressive Field, Jacobs Field, Indians, Guardians era.
Yeah.
Starting 5 and 3 arms out of the bullpen.
Essentially 30 years.
Now, I think we're going to, at the end of the show, we're going to have to fight Jason. Because I have Mesa in my bullpen, and I think you do too.
I think I put him as an honorable mention.
You can't have it.
Okay.
I don't remember now. I can't remember.
We're going to start with Bull and go around the horn.
Okay.
So, Bull, this is your official 8-man staff.
Okay.
For the
Did
Guardians.
I have Mesa in there?
Indians
No, I
combo.
left him out.
And he's an honorable mention. Steve, you can take tagboard
he
4.
had some moments, guys.
So there we go, guys. There's my rotation. I got Corey Kluber pitching game 1.
Yep.
CC go with the lefty in game 2. I did only go one lefty. Shane Bieber goes 3. I was Carlos Carrasco was definitely going to be.
He was my number 6.
He was your 6?
Yep. He was my 6.
I had him 4. The thing with Carrasco compared to some of the other guys I was thinking about is he never really had a Cy Young caliber season.
Right.
But he was very good for a longer time than a lot of these.
15 games.
Yes,
you know?
and as a 4th starter, love it. The 5th starter was the toughest. I considered Cliff Lee, who obviously had that Cy Young season. But in the grand scheme of things, he didn't have that many good years for the Indians, right? He had the great year.
How you not put a man with a Cy Young on the list?
I know it was a tough call, but Charles Nagy.
No, listen,
Charles Nagy.
Nagy's on my staff too.
Was a very good pitcher, ate a lot of innings, and pitched for the Indians for a very long time. I thought he deserved recognition as the 5th starter. It was tough leaving out Cliff Lee. And who else did I leave out?
Well, that's
Bartolo Colon was the other guy.
Bart Colon, I left him out too. So there you go. Did you have my relievers out there too or no?
We do, yes. You go back to tagboard, Steve.
So there's my relievers, guys. Now,
how was Clase on there?
Okay, now this was tough because Clase's only had 2 seasons for the Guardians.
Yeah, which is why he was immediate dismissed
I,
for me.
I was like, I shouldn't put him on there, but here's the thing, okay? I was looking over all he was so good. Has any pitcher outside of Andrew Miller or Corey Kluber been better over a 2-year stretch than Emmanuel Clase? For the Indians in 30 years.
I mean, Mesa had like 50 saves and 40 saves in back-to-back years.
But he was never as dominant as Clase. Never.
Well,
Borowski had a bunch of saves.
They're both relievers. They're both closers.
I know that, but there's other stats besides just saves.
I know, but I can't give it to someone who's only done it for 2 years.
That's fair.
I mean, that was right. Is he better than Mesa? Yes.
And I considered,
but I can't.
I considered not putting him there because it was only 2 years.
All right,
I understood that argument, and it was. But in the end, I decided that in these 2 years, to me, he was way better than Mesa ever was.
No,
even though Mesa
no, that's not true.
Yes.
In 1995,
yes,
Mesa was 3-0.
He was unhittable in 95.
He was I think that was the best single year I can remember by a reliever that I watched regularly.
What year? What was his ERA that year? I don't remember off the top of my head.
1.13. He had 46 saves. He was, to your point about being unhittable, he had 49 hits allowed in 64
But that was
innings.
1 year. He was never dominant. I said none. I was wrong, but nobody ever had the 2 dominant years like that.
Well,
not to that degree.
McNuggets, they opened the door.
In 96, he had 39 saves. And in 97, his ERA was 2.40.
Emmanuel Clase below 2 years in a row.
This is gonna be easy,
but I gotta do it. I gotta give it to.
That's fair. Go ahead.
They overthought
Jason's up
it. They overthought it. The baseball savants overthought this.
Well, I just needed more than 2 years. That's all.
That's fair.
That's all. Go ahead, Jace.
Well, I'm in agreement with Bull on the relievers. I got Clase on there too.
Wow.
And part of it is maybe projection.
Yes, I think that.
What a horrible picture.
I wanted to do projection, but I reread the email and it said in all caps, only what they did during Cleveland.
And that's fine because those 2 years that he's had, I think Clase, when he's done here, is going to be the best reliever the Indians have ever had.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I was excited when they made the trade for him because of just the splitter in the way, because we're fancy baseball lunatics, and I knew about him in Texas. Like, listen, I don't want to sound ridiculous, but like this is a Rivera type of cutter that this guy throws.
Absolutely.
And we've sort of seen that blossom here. So Clase, Miller, and Allen.
So the only difference for you was you had Cliff Lee instead of.
If you win a Cy Young, you're on my team.
Yeah, that's fair.
So those 4 were easy. Nagy was actually very league averagey over the course of his career.
He was, but to Bull's point, you knew he was going to chew up innings, and that's invaluable. You need a guy like that on your staff.
Yeah.
But he also had like 3 or 4 all-star caliber seasons.
Well, I talked to Zach about this last night, and
Yeah.
I said, like, listen, we're doing this exercise. What do you think? And I said, I really want to get Cologne on there.
Cliff Lee really
I
had
thought
2
about
good
Cologne,
years.
too.
I really wanted to get Cologne on there.
Yeah.
And I like Nagy, and Zach made the joke. He's like, Nagy was great in like 89, 90, 91, or 90, 91, 92, whatever it was. He said that everyone started taking steroids, and he was still throwing 87.
Yeah, no, that's what he was. He was not a hard thrower at all.
And so I love Charles Nagy, but I just couldn't justify putting him over. So I got 4 Cy Young winners, and I went Carrasco over Cologne. I really wanted to put Cologne on there, but I went with Carrasco just because of longevity.
Right.
He was 11 years here. Cologne was only here 6. He had a couple of just fantastic seasons, Carlos did, and I told Mikey, you get extra credit for cancer. Like, that's
you're
that's
right.
extra credit.
You're coming back from it, too.
You're putting Sabathia number 1 over, or did you not have it in an order?
I didn't really put
do
it
that
in
either.
order.
I know
just listed
you
them.
had. He had.
I had
game
it as
1
an order.
starter.
Yeah.
So here's what I did. We were close. We were very
Well, we
close.
got G.
We got
G
G.
actually
Oh,
yeah,
sent
no,
us
I'm
in,
sorry.
So we do
I'm
have
sorry.
G now.
Actually, be truthful, all y'all dead. Y'all don't even know it. You didn't even know it. You was all dead laying in the gutter because this is the best. You let this little rookie come up here and give him money. Look at that. Look at the starters. You're dead. 1 through 5. This is the easiest one. Why would you not put Bartolo Colon? You know why? Because they love giving nicknames in this market. Cookie. Look at Cookie Carrasco.
Yeah.
They love it.
He was not on
Yeah,
my
but
team,
to
though.
this point, Cody Allen is the best closer the Indians have had. You left him
Yeah.
out.
I believe Cody Allen don't got. I'm going with stuff. Cody's Allen stuff ain't nowhere good. They're better than these guys.
Yeah, but yet I don't know. His stuff wasn't better than Jose Mason.
Yeah, I like Cody. Cody Allen made me too nervous. Walked guys through a lot of balls, but he got the job done.
If you tell me that I could even, so if I got Andrew Miller, I got Jose Mesa, and I got Clase, it's over. You're not hitting none of them dudes. There was no hittable guys in my staff. You're going to go up there and catch you a couple of strikes, and you're out of here. Listen, I like the heartfelt. Charlie Nagy, that was the heyday. What's that? What's the little thing with they had the movie about the Indians? What is it? The movie
Major League.
That's the Major League nostalgia wearing
Yeah.
off. Because he was Charlie Sheen. It's the same person. He just played Charlie Nagy. But this is it. This is that. That's it.
Yeah.
Cody Allen had an ERA plus in Cleveland, which is I like that because you can compare errors that
Right,
way.
yep.
142.
Wow.
100 is league average. Cody Allen was way better.
He
Yeah.
kind of
than
got
he ever got
overshadowed
credit
there for
for.
2 years by Andrew
Miller.
He did.
And Zach made
But
the
you
point.
know what? Allen was always the closer.
Yes.
He was.
Yeah.
Which
Yes.
a lot of people, a lot of baseball people were like, "Why the hell is Allen your closer over
Yeah.
Miller?" And I'm like, "Well, you're splitting hairs."
It was
number one.
It actually was brilliant because he was able to
I
move
thought it
Miller
was
around.
brilliant too.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. By the way, in 2016, I always say, and Corey Kluber, embarrassingly by fans, gets crushed, even though he carried them to the World
did.
Series.
He did.
Carried them, and
He's
criticizing him
remembered for the home runs. Though.
criticizing him for Game 7 is unfair. He had been so overworked; they had no choice.
Yep.
But he had been so overworked.
Yep.
And Andrew Miller obviously gets his kudos for 2016, but Cody Allen was great in 2016 too.
That's what-
Those were the three guys.
Zach made the point last night. Cody was actually better than Andrew Miller. No one ever
in the postseason.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I
was.
think Cody
I
Allen
agree.
was better.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I think we're all splitting hairs here.
Yeah, sure.
But here's mine. Corey Kluber, who, by the way, is the opening day starter this year in Boston.
He is, yeah.
Like, we had talked about, hey, maybe Cleveland should take a look at him and kick the tires.
Yeah.
I think that's more of an indictment of what they have in Boston than it is an endorsement
Yeah, they're a
of
mess.
Corey Kluber. They're a total
What's
mess.
going on with Chris Sale? Why isn't Sale making that?
I don't know if
start?
he's hurt. Is he pitching?
I believe he's still hurt.
Yeah. So I've got
He's
Kluber.
He's
I don't
almost
know
ready.
that
He's not hurt.
They
but
don't know if he's going to be ready.
Yeah,
So
right.
Kluber is my starter. Bieber.
Yeah.
Sabathia. Cliff Lee I had to put on there. Cliff Lee's curveball. there was a stretch where every time he took the mound, I said, he's going to pitch a no-hitter today.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing, though. You criticized the Class A because it's only been 2 years. Cliff Lee only had 2 good years for the Indians.
He pitched longer for Cleveland.
But he only had 2 good years.
He had 2 dominant years.
And then he
for
was
Cleveland.
not very good in those other
But
years.
he had dominant years.
He was,
I
but
thought
same thing with
about,
Class A.
I thought about Carrasco.
Yeah.
I thought really hard about Bartolo Colon.
Yeah.
In the end, I just and to your point about the stuff, I thought there was a stretch where Cliff Lee had some of the best starting pitching stuff in baseball. There was a stretch he had like 4 or 5 no-hitters into like the 7th inning.
Nobody's hitting him.
He was a weird pitcher because he had some years where he was terrible.
He was. He had years where his ERA was like 5.
Remember, he got sent back to the minors. I mean, it was.
He was
just
part
strange.
of the. Was he part of the Bartolo Colon? Wasn't he and Colon and Grady
Sizemore and Brandon Phillips
with Montreal?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Charles Nagy.
Right.
Again, kind of a mediocre pitcher when you look at his overall body of work, but he also had some years where he was really damn good. I always hated for him that in Game 7 of the '95 series, instead of going Nagy, and he was emotionally upset about it even after the game because he did come in and ended up pitching that game, but they went with Jarrett Wright, who was pitching well.
Yeah.
But Indians fans will question whether or not that was the right move forever and ever.
Oh, Jarrett Wright pitched great.
I mean, Jarrett
Wright did his job.
He was
Absolutely.
down.
Yeah.
And then when Nagy came in, Nagy did get dinged.
Yeah.
Right?
He was on the mound when
He
they
was
lost
on the
the
mound
game.
when they lost the game. So, and this was tough. I had to go with Andrew Miller again on just the stuff. That lefty slider and his release point and how long he was. Every left-hander that faced him said, "I would rather walk over hot coals."
You know what's
It was a beast to
And
try to hit that.
your boy Tito pitched him like.
You know what's amazing?
He had to. He was
You know
the
what's
Energizer
amazing?
Bunny.
But not surprising. Neither Chapman nor Miller have been the same since that season.
You're
Nope,
right.
they definitely.
Neither one.
Well, they're both. Well, Chapman's still in the game, but Miller's
gone.
Miller's gone.
How do you?
They
fall
just
off
both
that
went.
quick?
And
Because there's a reason that managers have never done that before with relievers.
they were pitching crazy
You
innings.
just can't do it. Even though it might be 10 or 12 pitches, if you do that 5 days out of 7 in a week, that's like pitching 12 innings.
Well, remember
Miller had
game-
appearances of 28,
Oh,
32, 33
it was-
pitches.
He was bringing him in
in Game
multiple
5,
innings.
Chapman pitched like 3 innings.
Yeah, multiple innings.
I mean,
And there were times where Miller would handle the 7th and the 8th.
Yeah.
And then they would bring Allen in for the 9th.
right,
Allen, I love.
Yeah.
He made me a nervous
Oh,
wreck.
he scared the hell
But
out
I
of me.
loved him. And I can never discount how dominant Jose Mesa was.
Joe Table.
Joe Table. I mean, it really, you hear this all the time.
Yeah.
The games were 8 innings long. And that was, by the way, when they had a team that could hit the hell out of the ball and could put 8 or 9 runs up on you. So
I can't put,
best play-
he threw up all over himself when the moment they needed him
no,
most.
I
can't
listen.
put him
I'll
on
never,
my
I'll
list.
never forget that either.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was it Vizquel that wrote or said
you
in
could
a
see the
book
fear in his
that
eye.
when he came in from the bullpen, he thought that he was on something.
Oh, wow.
Well, they thought like you could see. I thought Omar wrote like you could see the fear in his
I
eyes.
thought
or something
someone
like
alleged
that.
that he looked like he was on something when he came in the
Well,
game.
Jose wants to kill Omar for whatever was in that. We'll have to go back and find it.
Yeah,
Jose's like,
yeah.
said, if I ever see
Omar
you-
roached him
The
pretty
bottom,
hard.
the bottom line is our lists were pretty similar.
Yeah.
We each, between Carrasco,
Cologne.
Carrasco,
Quickly.
Lee, and Nagy, we each had 2 of the 3.
Yes,
And
we
then
did.
Cologne was the best guy. Oh, you had
Well,
Cologne
no,
on your
wait.
list.
We all had Kluber, Bieber, and Sabathia, didn't
Right.
we?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I had Cologne.
So we
Yeah, you
so
did.
Cologne, Lee, and Nagy got represented. I think the best pitcher. Who's the best pitcher that
Not
didn't get
mentioned?
represented? Either Bauer, maybe Oral Hershiser,
I thought about Hershiser too
Yeah.
small of a stretch.
Dennis
small.
Martinez, I
But
thought of, but
maybe
same
Bauer.
thing.
Martinez, small sample size.
Yeah.
Martinez was great too, though.
Yeah, 94.
El Presidente.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe Bauer.
You know who I thought was going to be good and just flamed completely out? Danny Salazar. Remember him when he came
Oh,
on?
yeah.
Remember Danny
Yeah.
Salazar.
And that guy's just out of the league.
Well, how about this? Fausto Carmona.
Carmona.
Roberto Hernandez.
You know who we didn't even.
That's his real name. You know what? Skip
said-
asked me once. Skip said, "So if you were going to go by a fake name, why did you go by Devil?"
Yeah, right. You know who was.
They thought he was 19. He was actually 44.
By the way, you know who, when I first moved to Cleveland, you know who was pretty good starter for them and then just flamed out was Justin Masterson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
He
now
had a
you're
couple-
going back.
he had a couple of
Big
good
guy.
years.
Big guy.
Yeah, yeah.
No Jake Westbrook.
I looked
Jake
at him.
Westbrook
but
had some time too.
and he was his overall numbers were
Relief
very
pitchers
league averaging.
who were-
Josh Tomlin was another guy that I thought was going to have a much higher ceiling. He just didn't throw the ball.
Josh
very
Tomlin's
hard.
like a poor man's Charles Nagy.
Paul
Yeah.
Ossenmacher.
You know what? I looked at Ossenmacher
Oh,
because he was
Ossenmacher.
unhittable
I was
as
looking
a
at
lefty
Doug Jones,
reliever.
but then as I realized he didn't
It
really
was,
pitch
this was a fun
progressive.
exercise because,
was.
Danny Baez. I hadn't thought of Danny Baez
Danny
in 15
Baez.
years.
Who's the guy they got from the Colorado Rockies?
No, Shaw.
Ubaldo Jimenez.
Oh, yeah.
Baldo.
And Brian Shaw had 2 stints here.
Sure did.
But like as much as we remember him for giving up big hits or home runs in terrible spots, that guy could kill
Overall,
innings.
he pitched pretty well here.
He
had a rubber arm.
Yeah.
80 appearances.
And then when he came back, he had developed this. All of a sudden, the guy was like throwing major heat, which I don't think we ever saw from him the first time around. But when he came back, he had a great
We need to do this for the lineup.
Oh, we are. Don't worry.
Yeah,
We're
that'll
going
be
to
fun,
do an
too.
infield and an outfield. We're going to split it into
I mean,
2
okay,
days.
just before we go,
Yeah.
One that's going to be really tough. Do you want Carlos Baerga
or Robbie Alomar?
Or Robbie Alomar or
Kipnis?
I mean, we've had some really good second basemen.
Alomar.
Kipnis is
that's a
slam
but
dunk.
wait, before you go that far, Kipnis is almost first in every major category in Indians
Well, he
history.
played
He was
longer
here
than those
forever.
guys.
He was, but that,
Yeah.
I mean,
I take Robbie Alomar.
Now,
Alomar was special.
Third base is kind of hard.
Especially when you factor in defense.
Tomei or
First base
Ramirez.
is hard, too.
Well, Tomei didn't really play much third.
No, but he came up as a third
I
baseman.
can't put him at third, though.
He came up as a third baseman.
Matt Williams.
Yeah, but he
Yeah,
wasn't
but
Only
he
here
wasn't
for
here long
like
enough.
1 year, literally.
And
1 year.
Ramirez is like, I think
Jose's
he's got that on lock.
Jose is on a Hall of Fame track.
Center field. It's got to be Lofton.
Lofton.
I'm going Miles Straw.
Grady Sizemore, one of the all-time sad stories.
Yeah.
If he could have
for
stayed
Indians
healthy,
in team
he could be
history.
in that
His-
conversation.
So
I
good.
mean, Hafner, if he could have stayed healthy.
Hafner had
So
some
I
big
guess
years.
I guess like I can say this now. I leave tomorrow
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for this.
for spring training,
Yes.
and when I land, I'm driving to Albert Belle's.
No way. I've been meaning to ask you
Yeah.
about that.
So-
So you have the interview.
I have.
Is he going to let you video record this interview?
We haven't talked about that. We haven't gotten that far.
Please do it.
But
even if it's just an iPhone on a camera
Bro,
tripod and a 2-shot the
Yeah.
whole time.
By the way, something to note, if Albert Belle kills Jason, then Zach Meisel's going to write the
Zach's
story
going to write the
Yeah,
obituary.
okay. Bro,
because I texted him last night and said, if I show up missing or if my head comes back in a box,
Do you,
you
want
know where
to
to
share
look.
how that negotiation went? Like how you landed this interview? Because the Guardians have been trying to get him to do something
doesn't do
for
anything.
years. When they ask him about this, when they finally put him into their whatever Hall of Fame
Yeah.
or whatever it was, they tried 3 straight years. Curtis was telling me this story. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Finally, on the 3rd year, he agreed on a date, then backed out. So they said, Albert, we're going to do it. You got to go in.
Yeah.
If you want to be there, this is what it's going to be. He didn't show up. So it's going to be, I think it's the most sought after interview
can't wait
of
to
a
read
Cleveland
this.
sports star that we've had in the last 40 years.
He's been my white whale.
Yeah. Is
I've
he
chased
married?
him. I don't know if he's got girls. I don't know if he's married.
Yeah.
What was your
and
relationship like
You
with
mean
him?
he
None.
has, he has
None.
children,
None.
right? You mean he said,
So how
he's
did-
got,
girl
he
dad.
got women.
He's a girl
So
dad.
how did you pull this off?
I got his number and I texted him last year when
God,
I was
I
out
wish
there
I
for
could have
spring
done that.
training. And I said, hey, introduced myself and said, I've wanted to write about you for 20 years. Like, will you sit with me? I want to do a profile piece on your career. And he said, like I think his first response was, how did you get my number?
He pulled the Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Lose my number.
Yeah.
Was he cordial in your conversations? Was he
Yeah, I
angry?
mean, it's all text. I haven't spoken to him on the phone or anything.
oh.
It's all been through text.
that's crazy.
And I said, like, where did you go? Like, you've disappeared for the last 20 years. Where did you go? He said, I haven't disappeared. I just don't need baseball like so many other retired players do. And so, and we just never, like, I texted him a couple times. I was out there last year, and he just didn't seem very interested. Okay, fine, whatever. I tried. In like October, he just blindly texted me on a Sunday morning.
He's watching the World Series and
in
he
like
misses it.
October, November, sometime in the fall, because it was during Brown season. He said, hey, the Athletic looks pretty good. I'll do it. And I was like, what?
He did 6 months of research for you.
But now it's still
This
taking
is
6
just-
months.
Well, and
Yeah,
that's
right.
partly my fault.
Oh, okay.
Because we were in the middle of Brown season.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make a trip back out there in the middle of the season. And I said, we will do this. And I didn't mean
Where is he?
for it.
Scottsdale now?
Phoenix area.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean for it to drag on this long, but it has. And now he texted him and said, I'm going to be out here in this window. Is that work? And he said, yeah. And I texted him yesterday and said, can we do Friday? He said, yeah. What do you want to talk about? And I said, everything. And so
Did he respond to that?
he didn't respond, which told me yes. Like,
Okay.
we're good.
Yeah.
in the black
You may get there and he said, no, when you said everything, I was out.
in the black community, Albert Belle is untouchable. You don't understand Albert Belle was like we all like identified. That is us. Like
I don't know how he. I mean, I know how because he was surly. But the fact that he didn't get more Hall of Fame consideration.
He was like, I'm gonna be an
his
angry black
relationship with the
dude, and this
media.
is how we're gonna move with it.
Yeah, no,
Love
that
it.
that was his
Love it.
brand, and he put
And-
both arms around it.
I mean, he was.
I can't wait to see what you get.